Okay, here is the longitudinal section of the spinal cord. This is the brain, here's the spinal cord. You notice that the spinal cord ends here, and you have the nerves that are still going to be within the vertebral column, right? We talked about this in lecture. Okay, you have this, you have these nerves that come out here, and they're going to go to the arm and give you all these nerves, and they are the what? Brachial plexus. Come down, and you have your ribs ending here, which tells you that this is L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5, right? Okay, the nerves that come out in between them and form a plexus are going to be called the what? Lumbar plexus, which is around nerve number 13. Come down to your sacral region. So if this is L5, you have S1, S2, S3, S4, and S5 right down here, right? These nerves come out, they braid together, and they make about number 16 or 18, somewhere around that. And what plexus would that be? Sacral plexus. Sacral plexus. Okay, so you have your brachial plexus, lumbar plexus, sacral plexus. Okay, if you look directly at your spinal cord, it comes down here and it ends right here. Does everybody see it? Where it ends, that's the end of the spinal cord, is called the conus medullaris. Good. Okay, at the end of the spinal cord, you have the conus medullaris, and it's located about what area? L2, good. Okay, but inferior to L2, you're still going to have several spinal nerves that are within the vertebral column. And those spinal nerves look like a horse's tail, and it's called the what? Cauda equina. Cauda equina is right here. Okay, then you're going to have connective tissue that holds all of this down, so it's not going to be able to work its way up and fold on itself, and it's attached down here at the coccyx bone, right down here, and that's called the filum terminale, correct? Where the connective tissue is attached to the coccyx bone, filum terminale. The last thing that's on this model that's on your sheet is the sympathetic ganglion and chain. Do you remember today in class we said that cell bodies are located in the central nervous system, or they're in ganglia if they're in the peripheral nervous system. Okay, these little peachy colors here, those are going to be the ganglia, and they're joined together by the yellow chain. Okay, so this whole thing here is your sympathetic ganglion and chain. Anybody want to take a guess as to what is in the sympathetic ganglia? Cell bodies of the sympathetic neurons. That's going to be really important in chapter 16. Pay attention to that. 16 is that's the best chapter in the book. Ready? Got it? That's everything, right?
Sheep's brain's next.
Okay, skip over sheep brain because we're going to do that when we get back from Thanksgiving. But you have your ventricles model there at the bottom of the sheep brain. Okay. If you take this brain right here, if you feel, you put water in it, you see that it would hold a little bit of water, right? Okay, those are going to be spaces in the brain called ventricles. What they did was took your brain, put a big, put hot plastic in it, let it fill up the spaces, and then they took the brain away and they gave you this mold called the ventricles model. Got it? Yeah, they did that. Okay, if you look at the ventricles model, you see this right here looks like a bird head right here?
Sure.
It does. It has the beak, it has the mouth and everything. It really does.
Okay, it does.
Yeah. Okay, and you have wings on a bird, and the bird's going like this right here, right? Okay, so the bird flies like this right here, right? So this right here would be the right side of the bird. This would be the left side, correct? Okay, so this is the right ventricle. The right wing would be the right ventricle. The left wing would be the left ventricle. Then you have the body and the face of the bird and everything. That's going to be the third ventricle because it's in the midline of the body. And the fourth ventricle is the tail here. The tail. If you look on our model here, this is the third ventricle. See how much space would be there? And the fourth ventricle is down here. Okay, the third and fourth ventricle are connected, just like they are right here on the model, by the aqueduct of Sylvius. The aqueduct of Sylvius, yes?
On our test, is it going to be that model
No, it's fine. This is the first class I picked that model up and like was trying to compare it. Okay, so here's the aqueduct of Sylvius in between the third ventricle and the fourth ventricle, right? Okay, and notice that parts of this model are pink. Did you see that? Okay, the pink parts of the model are the choroid plexus. The choroid plexus has ependymal cells that make it up. Does anybody know what the job of an ependymal cell is?
Does it have something to do with the epidural space?
No.
No.
Y'all got that on recorder, right? No. Oh, you got it on there too, thanks.
Yeah. I got your little bird flying too on here, by the way.
Okay. Come on, y'all, ependymal cells. They're they're a nuclear cell that makes cerebrospinal fluid, remember? Ooh, yeah.
At the
very beginning of our net.
Yeah, it's at the very beginning of the nervous system notes, chapter 11. Okay, so anyway, the pink part here makes your cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid, y'all know that it's going to flow. It's going to go through. I just got to telling you, it goes down your central canal, up through your subarachnoid space. Okay, well, the most common area for it to be blocked, you've heard of hydroencephalitis before? The most common for it, or water on the brain, the most common place for it to be blocked is this right here, your aqueduct of Sylvius, between your third and fourth ventricle. In fact, I have a student yesterday whose son has some problems and stuff, and that's what she said. It was an aqueduct of Sylvius. She recognized the name. Don't y'all love this class? Okay. Next is, I think, the torso model. This is the torso model here. This is an older model than that one over there, but they have a lot of similarities. Like, it's actually like the same casting for majority of it, but the numbers are different. This gray right here. On this model, the nerves are gray. See this gray right here? It's right next to your carotid artery that you can't see because muscles are covering it up. But it comes along right here. It's right here. Right here. Right here. Okay? That is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve. What color in real life is the vagus nerve?
Blue.
Blue. Y'all really believe that? Okay, what's the only color that we talked about in lecture today? There were two colors. Gray and white. So let's take one of those.
It's white.
It's white. Why?
Because it's myelinated.
Because it's myelinated. Very good. Does anybody know what type of cell the vagus nerve would be myelinated with?
Yes.
Go back to those neuroglia cells. Two of them are responsible for myelination. It is fat, but the cells use fat to make that myelin. Did you say swan cells?
Yeah.
Very good, swan cells. Okay, this vagus nerve here, remember too about the vagus nerve, it's the only cranial nerve that goes into the thoracic and abdominal cavities. Remember that? Okay, another thing about that it does too, it branches here to go to the heart. So these branches here, are going to be the cardiac plexus. The cardiac plexus. And if you want to look at it real close, you can see, oh look, there's the esophageal plexus there, and it's going to take the nerves down here to your abdominal cavity. You know, what? It's kind of interesting to look at all of it.
Yeah.
This is the vagus nerve here, and here's the cardiac plexus.
So the cardiac plexus is just a part of the vagus.
And it's a branch off of the vagus nerve.